movies, and books.
We did it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are very excited to have Karen Schaler join us today. This is the second time we've had her here. She's an Emmy Award-winning storyteller, screenwriter, author, journalist, and national TV host. Karen has written an original Christmas movies for Netflix, Hallmark, Lifetime, including the Netflix sensation A Christmas Prince and Lifetime's Every Day is Christmas, starring Toni Braxton. You guys know that we are giving away books today, but stay here and ask lots of questions because Karen has a surprise giveaway. Do I get to announce what the surprise giveaway is yet?
Maybe we should wait. We'll do it like halfway through. Now it's a surprise giveaway.
So
hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
Ask questions in the chat and
the Facebook chat up too, so I can look at those questions.
Oh, awesome.
Perfect.
Since they didn't come up over here for some reason. So welcome, Karen. Thank you so much again for
thanks to you guys, Sarah and Julie. I've been looking so forward to this. We'll be talking about my book, but book launch week, it's just like a movie premiere week. It's a lot, but you guys, I've been so excited. So thank you for having me back because I love what you both do. So we're going to have so much fun. Plus the giveaways. Who doesn't want to start getting in the festive spirit?
Those are always fun. So it launched yesterday.
It did.
And it's called Love Always Christmas.
It did. If I look, so it is in what we call trade paperback. Ooh, this hardcover is always so special because libraries carry it. So the hardcover is just substantial. And then EPUB, and then the Audible is coming out in about 2 weeks. And that's my bad because I didn't get it to them as quickly as I usually do. So they have moved heaven and earth, and I have the best narrator. I'm super excited about it. Usually they all come out at the same time. So we're just building a little anticipation for the audiobook.
I love a hardcover book. It's when we're buying books, it's my favorite. So
yeah, and you know what's fun? I didn't really know about it until I started off with HarperCollins, and they were just planning to do the trade paperback. And then they said they got a lot of requests from libraries, and it's because libraries want hardcovers because, they last the test of time. Yeah. And so, I love it. There's just something so old fashioned about, you have the book flap that you get to. Ooh, wait, here we go. I'd be a terrible weather girl. That you get to design, and this is the collectible. So I say, and that's what's so cool. I know a lot of people might not know, but what we're giving away, the Christmas Camp hardcover, it's not just any hardcover because it's a limited edition. Oh my gosh, good job, Sarah. Limited edition from HarperCollins gave these to me, and there's only a few left. I mean, when they're done, they're done. You'll always be able to get, I'd like to think always paperback. But that's it for the Christmas Camp hardcovers. It is it. And I wanted you guys to have them special because what you do is so special. And I wanted people that tuned in to get that opportunity. So yay.
We have a bunch of names, and I did the old fashioned way. So we'll pick 3 names out of the hat for the basket.
I love it. And maybe we should say, Julie, because you were saying, okay, I'll tell you what the special surprise is. I mean, you probably can guess, right? I mean, we're giving away my debut book, which was also where I wrote the Hallmark movie. Fun fact, I wrote the Hallmark movie first. Then I wrote the book. People, that's not normal. I'm not normal. But I thought, well, gosh, we have to give away a copy of the new book, autographed, and there's other swag that comes with it. So it's going to be really fun. And we're going to give that away because we really love it to be interactive. I want to answer as many questions as you guys have. So leave your comments and we'll get to them. Julie and Sarah, they're in charge of all of that. And even if I can't get to it live, I will get to them after. I will pop back on on the channel and make sure I get those questions answered for you. It's my commitment. I did that once and I had 900 questions. That was a lot. I had a lot of hot cocoa. A lot of hot cocoa answering that one. Maybe a little wine in one of maybe a little. But no, it was so much fun, and that's such a great way. And then Julie and Sarah will pick again the random Christmas elves, a comment at the end, and we'll be giving away a book too. So this is just like way too much fun.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about Love Always Christmas. Julie and I have both been reading it and have both enjoyed it.
Yes.
We already
can't wait.
Picture the characters and
well, you know what? And it's so fun to tell because I have a couple stories that people, we're just starting to talk about this. And this is actually a story that I came up with about 4 years ago, the kernel of an idea. It was originally called Dear Christmas because it involves a mysterious Christmas card. And as a matter of fact, at the time I was writing, it was right after I'd written a movie for Lifetime. And I also did my book, and when I did this year, it was this one, Christmas Ever After.
Yep.
And it's really hard, if you guys know the Christmas movies, you know, especially Hallmark's been making so many beautiful ones. Lifetime has gotten in on it, Netflix as well. Yep. It's really hard to come up with a title. When you're writing movies, people will actually say, okay, as a screenwriter, you got to bring me a title. A title can almost sell you a movie. So I remember I had told my titles as you're pitching around, and, you know, your execs that you know and everything. And I was so upset that when Christmas Ever After came out, at the same time, Lifetime had a Christmas Ever After. And it was also a very similar story. Now, they didn't steal the story. It wasn't that at all. There's so many ideas out there. They're Christmas stories. Many are similar. But then they also had a one called Dear Christmas. I was like, wait a minute, because that was this one that I was working on. And when I talked to one of the execs, it was something along the lines of, well, you know, they were great titles and you have a law. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I don't know if it was intentional or it was just one of those things in the universe. But I always said, you can't get mad because it's a compliment, right? You know, and move on. But it actually turns out I like it better. I like the title Love Always Christmas. It's the way I think you could sign. And I incorporated that into the story, that you would sign like Love Always Christmas. And I like it better. So there you go. But the fascinating thing is I actually pitched this. It was in 2019 and I had a network and I had a producer really interested. Everything was going forward. And then of course, COVID. And it was what we call when we pitch a one sheet. So it was a quick summary, similar to the story you have, but it didn't have the mystery. Right. That mystery was something, and I don't want to say because there is a spoiler alert and we won't give it, guys, don't worry. But, you know, there is a mystery that kind of goes to the end that you're waiting to see. And everyone's saying they can't stop turning the pages because they really want to know this one answer to a question. And that originally was answered very early. And then the story revolved around, you know, what was going to happen. But after I wrote it, I got to about page 200 this year. I felt like this was a year for the story. I'm also writing the movie. And I thought, you know what? At the last minute, I thought it's too similar to everything I'm seeing out there, including what I write. I wanted there to be more. I wanted it to have more family dynamics. And so just, you know, I love to tell just the one-line blurb because I work so hard on these one-line blurbs because this just sort of gives you guys an idea for the listeners. And it says, Libby is planning to spend the holidays alone until a mysterious Christmas card takes her on a life-changing journey where she discovers a family she didn't know she had and a love she was never expecting to find. So it's a lot going on in this one. And what's fun is, and I really want to hear your feedback, that I have Libby as a social media manager. And everyone knows for all my Christmas movies and projects, we always pull from our own inspirations. And I know you talk to actors and you talk to everyone in all aspects of this. And, you know, so it was funny. I was doing a lot of social media as I'm promoting movies and my books. I also have a travel show. So I had done a deep dive into hashtags, right? And, you know, the power of a hashtag, which, as you know, if you read, you know, that somebody, a great person, early reviewers, it's on NetGalley. It's on NetGalley until about mid-November is what's been put up. So if someone's listening and is on NetGalley, if, you know, you fit the criteria that goes to the little gauntlet that you can get a copy. But one of it I loved is somebody wrote, I'm not into social media or hashtags. This is the first time I like a hashtag because the hashtag saved the day. And you all will know what it means later. But I said it's kind of like there's a little piece of Field of Dreams in it. In my mind. And that is also near the end. It was kind of the feels of that. But it's really about the fact of it's two communities. You know, usually we have one. And I liked that. And I liked, you know, my main character. When I had Libby, and you know, I was laughing about. I'm looking at this because I wanted to see if I wrote it. I don't want to. I know I've got to be careful. Yeah. So no, I didn't. Okay, good. So you think I'd know my book by heart, but there's so many things that go into it by the time I put this out here. But with Libby and Adam, the relationship originally, and it was similar in the movie. You know, you usually meet one of the stars and you see a little of their life. Then you meet the other star, and then there's what we call the meet cute, right? Where they meet. And again, I'm a screenwriter, so all my novels, people say they feel like they're watching a movie. So I even, when I talk about my novels, it sounds like I'm talking about a movie. But I wanted a meet cute that was different. I didn't want going around the corner in the coffee mug going into each other. There's just so many.
This is a great meet cute.
I love this meet cute.
I do too. Yeah. I do too. And I had fun with
We
it.
maybe we can relate to this meet cute at our house. So
Oh my gosh, we have to talk about that. I know. Well, wait. I won't read it, but because there's only a couple, it's very fun, you guys. But what it is I really wanted, these two people meet when they're both really stressed. They're both kind of, going on, and then they happen to meet up in this charming Christmas town. And the town is in Washington State, and it's inspired by Leavenworth, Washington, a Christmas town that I love going to. Finding Christmas. Where is that one over here? There. Ooh, no. Oh gosh, there. Oh, I'm terrible at this. Why can't I figure this out? I was doing there. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get it, you guys. That's a gazebo that's actually in Leavenworth, Washington. And so that inspired it. And I want to tell you a little bit about the house. And you're like, tell me more about the story. But what it is it's this, she gets a Christmas card, Libby does. And she's lost her mom about a year ago at Christmas. So she's just planning to work and spend the holidays alone. She was an only child. Her dad passed away. He was a military veteran. And her town, her little neighborhood, I should say, was Christmas Central. Like, it's one of those neighborhoods you would put on your list and drive through and see the Christmas lights. And her family, especially her dad, kind of started that tradition. She's the only house not decorating because unfortunately she has to sell, because when her mom passed, there was a lot of bills, and she's just started a business and she's struggling. And so, it's kind of funny that with the meet cute, there involves a very, well, I just don't want to say. See, I mean, I know Julie's laughing, but if we tell them, then they won't get that initial surprise. But so many people said they were laughing out loud. So I always think of it as heartfelt and uplifting, but it is a romantic comedy, but it does deal with dramatics of family. And sometimes, I personally don't like to write Christmas stories that are too heavy in anything, because I feel like they're an escape. And I know I want it to be realistic, and I want it to be real world always. And a lot of them, let's be honest, haven't been. They're kind of Pollyanna and sugar coated and all of that, but that's okay, because people want that at Christmas. Right. But I think this one, it was the first time I weaved in this storyline about some family drama that happened a long time ago. It's part of the mystery. And I was really curious. I was a little worried about what people would think, because this is different for me, especially having a mystery. And this is my 6th novel. And let me tell you, you guys, I've gotten incredible feedback and all ages. Like, I had someone that was 13 that read it, because everything I write, sweet and clean, movies, everything, audio. But I also had people, 75, 85 reading it. And they felt like that they really resonated with the story on so many different levels. So I'm really proud of it. I went a little outside my comfort zone. I wanted it to be more realistic. I wanted to make sure, I feel like one thing, two things about my cover I wanted to share. And I was just talking about this recently as I was working with Audible on a cover, that I sort of made a stance way before it was popular to do so. But in 2017, 2018, when my first book was coming out, I said, I don't want anybody on the cover. A lot of times you see those cute people or they're kissing and they're animated covers. I said, because I want to show diversity, but I want to feel like no matter who you are, what color skin you are, what country you're from, because these are all throughout the world. I want you to feel included. And I'm tired of seeing blonde-haired, blue-eyed, let's be frank, people that look like me on every single cover. I mean, I'm sorry, I've traveled with my travel show to 68 countries, and not very many people look like me. So I'm really trying to figure out why it is. So I really made a stance. Now, in my international cover, I was trying to see where this little guy is. This is a good one to show. Now, this was in the UK, and I agreed to this because if you see her, it's just the back of her hair is brown. It could be anybody. It could be any nationality. It could be anybody. So I was okay with that. I'm like, okay, we can do that. And so for this, I always want it to be a place that you want to go to. So if you look at my covers, that you kind of feel like it's a magical place. So something I'm excited to share, and I'm going to be doing a lot more about this because it just came out yesterday, and I haven't even announced in my social media or on my website or told people about this, but this is actually a real live B&B, and it's in Canada, and it's one of the favorite places on earth I've ever been. And this is actually from a picture that was taken of the B&B. And I've been with HarperCollins. I'm a hybrid. So I've had the big publishers. I self-publish as well. My favorite part is creating covers with amazing cover designers. And so when I took it to the designer and said, can we do this house? And can we, and literally she's like, and the house that I had a picture of had a big tree in front of it. So, not easy to take out a tree and tree branches. And I literally, every single, there's Christmas lights. I'm like, can we add Christmas lights? Because I'm, that's from being on a movie set where it's like, If it's an actor that goes or Christmas lights go, we're going to get rid of the actor. Christmas lights, the more the merrier. But so this is, and a lot of these Hallmark movies and Netflix, Lifetime are shot in Canada.
Yeah.
This is actually in New Brunswick, Canada.
Nice.
Okay.
So we're talking the East Coast here, a hop skip if you guys are watching from Maine.
Yes.
And it is called the Quartermaine Bed and Breakfast. It's in Fredericton, which is the capital, the main city. And I have stayed here several times. It actually kind of helped inspire Christmas Camp because Deborah, who owns it, and it's family history, she is this amazing cook, and she's amazing. She actually had one of the little art, little guy, I think he's a little monkey. It was in a Hallmark movie, that was used in a Hallmark movie. So her house is decorated like magic. It felt like a Hallmark movie when I was in the house. It was magical. And so this year I wanted to do this. And one of the reasons is a very dear friend of mine, and I won't say too much just to protect, her privacy, but she's battling a lot right now, and unfortunately a terminal illness. And so she's amazing. And she and I have stayed here. She's the one that introduced me to here. She's taken me here. So the dedication is to her. And I wanted to do this for her so she would know. And she's excited. She's excited about it because it's a good memory. And so, and that's what this story, I feel like this story, is about two people that both have great lives, but the one part that's different, that we have a social media person who loves to share stories. She's a storyteller through social media because she sees the power of a hashtag and a power of things going viral. Now, meanwhile, we have Adam, who's awesome. And, he was the big city guy that moved to this smaller magical town because he wants to give back and he wants to help people. And he thought, this is what I want to do. And it's not that he's not progressive, but when it comes to Christmas, he's nostalgia because the competing town, there's another town that's all about flash and, disco balls and all this crazy stuff. So Adam is not into social media. He just doesn't see a need for what he's doing as town manager, and he just isn't into it. And so from the beginning, there's a clash. One of my favorite scenes, because I see it so much, when we have the movie, is first of all, y'all know there's going to be a dog on every one of my covers. That's Rudolph. I know he's adorable. So little Rudolph is in this charming town, Holly Peak, that's up in the mountains. And outside the bakery, there's this cute Christmas tree that has little dog biscuits as ornaments. So little Rudolph, who's super smart, because he's an Australian Shepherd, and they're pretty brilliant, is grabbing them and eating the biscuits. And so, of course, Libby sees it. It was like social media gold, and she's taking video of it because she just finished a Santa Kitty campaign with this very finicky feline. And so she's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And Adam, the owner that she's already had the meet cute run in with, of the dog, basically was, let me see that, and then deletes it. And everybody was like, wait, we don't like this guy at first. But it turns out that, like you said, there's sort of a Field of a Dreams feel to it, if anyone likes that movie. And there's also a lot about family and second chances, and really about forgiveness, but also taking a chance on love. I mean, I think that's a theme that we all see. But this time, I think it really resonated because I think we get so busy in our lives, and it's not the usual workaholic doesn't have time for Christmas story, which, by the way, I write and I like, so I'm not dogging on that story at all. I love that. And the reason we all write it is because we're trying to write what the world is. And there's unfortunately too many of us that are that way, and we all can resonate. But I think this one, there's some different layers. There's a little bit more layering to it. And I think the reason people are really gravitating toward it, it's still going to have all the Christmas feels that people expect from a story from me. But I think it's going to tug at some different heartstrings that maybe haven't been tugged at before. And I think it makes it a little richer. I hope. So yes, it's out today everywhere. So
this is exciting, Karen. So exciting. You. I have a question about your characters. So when you're writing about the characters, so you have your two leads, which are Libby and Adam. When you are writing, since you write more screenplay, do you envision a particular actor? Can I read your description of?
Yes,
okay, I might have something to pop into here, and I'm going to read your description.
I love this. Oh,
here's the picture, and then I'll read the description that goes with that.
Love it.
That they looked into each other's eyes, and he took her breath away. He had the most gorgeous cobalt blue eyes she'd ever seen, like there. He was tall, maybe 6'3". That's how tall he is. And unruly jet black hair and the kind of chiseled features you'd see on a model. And then do you know who this is?
Oh, of course, it's Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And then there he is on the front of. He's done some modeling in the past. He's in
I
the
did
front of a
not know
romance.
that. I have not met
Romance.
Kevin. Have not had the pleasure of meeting Kevin. But now that you're saying that, well, he does look like not just your rom-com, but your Fabio of current day, right?
Yeah.
Of a romance
Fabio of
novel.
current day.
All right, I'm removing him. But I was like, I read that and I'm like, well, there's Kevin.
Casting. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Other people have said that because it's just coming out. And here's another thing that's crazy. And I don't know if you noticed. I'm not sure how that description got in there. In screenplays. I don't write descriptions. And
Okay.
I saw a great. I think it was a podcast with Shonda Rhimes when she talked about casting Grey's Anatomy.
Mhm.
And she's just someone that I aspire. I love how many projects she does, and I love why she does it and the heart that comes from it.
Yeah.
And when she talks about Dr. Bailey,
Yep.
she had a blonde, bubbly person, I believe. Don't quote me. But anyway, somebody was much different than who, Dr. Bailey turned out to be. But she
Right.
said when that actor walked in, she was Dr. Bailey.
Right.
And it taught her to not pigeonhole with
Mhm.
looks. But it's kind of the same reason I don't have people. I don't want to say skinny blonde or athletic build. I don't usually ever, even for my men. So you'll see Libby. There's not one description of Libby.
Nope.
You have no idea what Libby looks like. You don't know if she's
'Cause I
5'2". Yeah, there's none. And honestly, I don't know how the description snuck in there. I don't think any of my books have a description. And this was a rough year for me. That had a lot going on in my family life. My dad's been going through some health struggles. And that said, I don't know where it snuck in. Maybe I was dreaming of a tall, dark, and handsome man myself. I'm not sure.
With
But it's so
cobalt
funny.
blue eyes.
Yes. And so funny. Somebody else said Kevin. Like I said, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but he is exactly what I would envision. So maybe it's subliminal because, I love watching When Calls the Heart,
Yeah.
so maybe I had watched the episode and then maybe, I don't know how it got in, but it's funny. I call it one of those Easter eggs because normally I'd say she looked in, I would say, she looked into his eyes and he looked like a model. And then what is the next line? Do you remember the next line? Because I think
after the model, it says he looks like a model.
It says, and then it says, and that means, I don't know. Let me see if I can find it.
And that means he's like no good. It was.
Yeah, I have it here. It says the most gorgeous cobalt blue eyes she'd ever seen. Man was tall, unruly, jet black hair, the kind of chiseled features you'd see on a model. Libby's eyes narrowed. She was instantly suspicious. In her experience, anyone who looked that good meant trouble, big trouble. So do we think Kevin is big trouble? I don't know,
for sure.
You guys have talked to him. You can tell
multiple
me.
times. Yes. We know for sure he's trouble.
I know. So then therefore he could be perfect, but he also has a good heart. So
super.
He's actually trouble in the nicest way.
Is that when you're reading these books, like I didn't miss not knowing what Libby looks like.
Me either.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't take anything away from me. And I'm trying to remember if I was like visualizing it while I was. So maybe I even made her up, and I can't even. I don't even know.
That's the plan. That's what I want for you guys. I feel like my job, and you'll never believe this, especially when people, thank you so much for taking the time because a novel is a lot. It's a lot, different than watching a 2-hour movie for us. But you guys are so sweet. I love you. But I think what was so important is when you're writing, for me is to bring a person into the experience. And because my background is television, even before writing movies as a journalist. So I write to pictures, I write visually, which will be a great transition when we talk later about Audible, because that was so completely everything I've never done and don't even know how to do because my brain doesn't think visually. And I rely so heavily. So in a screenplay, as you know, and for the people that are watching that maybe, haven't thought about it, an hour, you get 1 page per minute. So if it's a feature and you don't have commercials, usually around 99, 105 pages is a sweet spot, right in there. So you're like 95 minutes, right around that time frame. And its brevity is everything. And so you're not going to write a big long thing. You say when you were describing, like this little setting, you wouldn't say, and the trees were snow covered and this and and you wouldn't do like a paragraph because all you need is usually they give you in your kind of there's always rules, but to be broken. But especially in Christmas movies where everyone gets it, the directors have been doing this and, the producers and all that. It's like 2 lines, which is why it's like a game writing a screenplay. It's hard. You try to think, how do I say it in 2 lines? So you might say for a scene like this, you're like, You could literally say a fairy tale Christmas setting, a charming, you don't even say red because it's going to, they have to find a house and you don't want to peg them into something. But a charming house tucked in the woods, flooded with Christmas lights, feeling like a picture postcard. That's all you do. And then you let the director, you need to get the director to feel it more than anyone. Then he will figure it out to bring it to life. So when I first wrote my first novel, Christmas Camp, my editor, May Chen, who is amazing at HarperCollins, her only notes, we had to write it really quick too, because remember the movie was coming out and I'd never written a novel and we were trying to get it out at the same time. It was like, I think I wrote it in 3 months. It was not a normal experience. So I'm writing really fast, and I'll never forget some of her first notes said, she said, a little more, please. She'd just say more. Description, more, because I would write such brevity and she wanted more. And now I was just reading some reviews. I read them all. I mean, it's okay, because like I told somebody the other day, if you're not down for Christmas until after November, then you probably don't want to follow me because I start talking about Christmas early. Doesn't hurt my feelings. And I learn from every review, every comment. I'm not neurotic about it. I don't take it to heart, but I respect somebody that took the time to read and review. And everyone says, I feel like I'm in the movie. I mean, excuse me, the book. It really comes to life. I did have one reviewer a couple years ago, I think it was for Royal Christmas Fairy Tale, which is a castle setting. And they said, I was reading this, but it was just too much. I felt like I was in a Hallmark movie, and that was a bad thing, they thought. So obviously not a Hallmarky, obviously not, but the point is, they felt like it was a movie and they didn't like it. I have a different style of writing. If you love like Christmas movies, you're going to like my books, because I literally, when I wrote Christmas Camp, I had the screenplay. And when I wrote the novel, I had it next to me. I don't traditionally outline books at all. I just have an idea. I know the beginning, I know the end, and I just write, and the characters go on this journey, which really was trouble with this one. When at page 220, I decided I didn't want to start that way. And I really blew this up. It's the first time I've done that. And that's why I was a little late with this book coming out, because usually I'm doing press in July, and I would have had it at Rama Drama talking about it. But I decided to change it. All the things I shared earlier, I felt it needed more. I just felt, oh, this happens. There's a little town. There's a little Christmas competition. I just felt like we've seen it a million times, and I wanted it to be different. And to be honest, it was in my heart. Like the characters were like, we deserve more. So thank you, characters, that you made me start to page 10 when I was almost done with the book, which was very challenging. But
Okay, we love
so
that. We love an interwoven storyline, so
right.
they gave it more depth.
It's your favorite
I
thing.
think so. Absolutely. And I love that you love that. So I want to ask you, who would you see as Libby?
So it's funny that you said this, because we were like talking about it a little bit. I could see, because there's no description of her, I could really see so many people. It could be this huge range from somebody very young, but I see somebody a little quieter, but very smart, and like a little more focused. So there's a wide variety of actresses that fall into that.
I thought of somebody yesterday. I've got to think about it while you're talking.
Right. But so Lacey Chabet almost always plays a character a little bit like that, right? Yeah. But Kayla Wallace also is that way. Whereas our bubblier, I feel like that's not quite who Libby is.
No,
so,
exactly.
Cindy,
especially because she's gone through this loss. So, you need someone that's has a little bit more reserve to them, and then we see them blossom. And I love that you say that. Keep going.
Yeah, no. So, and just like we have some beautiful actresses that are always really bubbly. The other one is Erin Cahill.
Oh, I loved Erin, and I got to meet her at Rama Drama.
Yeah.
And she just exudes joy, And I have to tell you a funny story about Finding Christmas. Where is the book? It's easier for me just to where to go? There, Finding Christmas. So this is my second book. It was with HarperCollins, and I always planned again on writing the screenplay. So long and short, it's all about Emmy. She's over the top, bubbly, exuberant, just whoa, Christmas. Like, you want to if you're reading it, you're going to want to slap her. No, don't slap Emmy, please. But anyway, she just exudes this. Now, to your point, which you're going to think is crazy, I have never ahead of time until my Audible project, or that was even after the fact, but I never have thought of an actor. And I'll tell you why after I tell this story, because there's a very good self-preservation reason of why. But in this one, as I was writing it, and maybe I'd just seen a movie where somebody was just over the top and super happy, but it had to be somebody that could exude this joy just by her eyes and her persona and, you know, all of that. And so in my mind, I thought of Rachel Boston. And when I was writing it, just because I had seen a movie where she was just, you know, just so happy, and that beautiful smile of Rachel's, you know, it's just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I never told anybody. I don't even know if you know, it was kernel in my head, and it went out for the reason I'll share in a second. So fast forward, producer loves it. You know, is going to option it. We're going to set it up. We're taking it, you know, to Randy at Hallmark. You know, this is where, you know, the plan is. And she calls me, the producer, and says, I have an actor that wants to be attached as an EP. They're so excited about this project. I'm like, oh, who? And they're like, Rachel Boston.
Yeah.
I had shivers because I told her, I said, I can't believe. And then when I got to talk with Rachel and we started the collaboration process, she was so perfect. And so everything was going full steam ahead. And then the pandemic hit.
Right.
And so everything stopped. And then, of course, Rachel is doing so many things and now has a baby.
Yeah.
So, you know, Finding Christmas, you know, got put on the back burner. But the reason I did is I learned very early in screenwriting. And I think I knew this, that as a writer, especially features, which is what, you know, a Hallmark movie is television, but it's not like a TV series where Shonda Rhimes, if you're a showrunner, she gets to cast, Dr. Bailey. But if you're in features, you'll hear any feature writer talk about it. Your job is to write it, create it, and then, you know, have everybody gets on board, but the director takes over and becomes the boss along with the network and the buyer, and they will be picking the actors. I have zero say. And sometimes the writer doesn't even know when the movie's coming out. Sometimes the actors don't even know when the movie's coming out, which happened on my Christmas camp.
Yeah.
I know, exactly. Yeah. And so because of that, I never want to put in my head, I also want to keep it where this could be African-American, this could be somebody from, Asia. I want to be able to just have anyone do that, unless I'm writing a very specific, geographic, where I've traveled a lot and I have some great things I'd like to include that are cultural. But that said, I also don't want to get disappointed, because if I have something in my heart and I'll never get asked, at least at the level that I'm at now, I won't get an opportunity to chime in. And so I'm always really excited to see, and I feel like the casting directors and the directors, once they take over your story, it's theirs. It's their baby now. It's all of ours, but it's really theirs, and they need to find their vision. And that's why a lot of authors have a hard time crossing over. And to be honest, it's why, where an author doesn't want to even option their book because it gets changed so much and they have problems. But it's actually why I started writing, because when I wrote Christmas Camp and or Christmas Prince for Netflix, and I saw the collaboration, it was my first time, and how much had to get changed and things got cut for budget, right? A lot of things changed. And then I wrote Christmas Camp. I thought, okay, if I write the book, so I wrote Christmas Camp first and it's in production. And I was part of it. I had to cut it. I'm writing it. I had to cut. And I just was so heartbroken. And, this is how it happens.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, Karen, you get to have your way with your words and your movie and your characters when you own the network and you have $2 or $3 million to put up for a Christmas movie. And I knew that, as a professional, but because if it's close to your heart and all my stories are, I said, well, if I really care that much, I'm going to write the novel, because then I get to be the director, the producer. I have no budget and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm starting now on some of these, writing it first. And then also I'll write the screenplay and partnering, understanding that it will change. And now I get it. Now the first time around, you're new, but it's the number one thing when I talk to, mentor young screenwriters that, I'm still young myself, but I say, guys, if, people go, but they bought it. If they bought it, why are they changing it? They must, I said, because they bought an idea sometime, they bought a vision. Yeah. If you're not able to know that your story is going to be changed a lot, you don't want to be in screenwriting, or you need therapy, write a book, then you have control.
Okay, I remembered who I thought of. Corey Lee. Do you know who Corey Lee is?
I'm terrible. Tell me what she's in.
Oh, she would be great.
Wouldn't she? She's just starting to get her number one roles. But she's been around forever. She's Canadian, and she you would completely recognize her.
I would recognize her. Yeah. I'm terrible. I should
know
know this.
Movies on all the networks. Like, she's just kind of everywhere. Yeah. So
well, that's how I feel about our Brittany Bristow too, because when I first watched Little Brittany, I say Little Brittany, she's taller than I am. When I first watched Brittany, she's amazing, but she was always the BFF,
Right.
the best friend or the secondary character. And nobody was more excited. I felt I was more excited than her agent when she stared getting leading lady roles because she owns it. And I've seen her grow so much, and I love her as a human, and got getting to know her at both of the Rama dramas. Yeah. But that's why Rama drama helps so much, because that's how I got to, when Audible happened, that I actually got to. Is that a good trans? I mean, if you guys are okay,
perfect.
I know that
that's what you're allowed to share.
Okay, so the first I have to explain, because I think this is exciting for the people watching. With Audible, so I just talked about how my Audible book for the book is going to be coming out a few weeks after the release yesterday. That's where it'll be one narrator reading. It's usually 12 to 16 hours, right? They read your book and they read boy, girl. I don't know how they do it, you guys. That is so hard. So they read all the parts. So Audible has started, it started with the pandemic, and I'm saying it wrong. At least I noticed with the pandemic, I'm sure. I mean, it's been around where they started doing what's called scripted originals. So first of all, it means they're not just, yes. So they're not, a lot of people still don't know. So they're not just taking a book and telling the story. What they're saying is, if you hear an Audible original, this is the only place you're going to hear it. It hasn't been told in any other format. It hasn't been told in a movie. It hasn't been told in a novel. This is made just for Audible, and it's called Audible Original. But then we took it a step further, what's called a multicast. And this is what we don't see many of. And this is where, instead of one narrator creating a story for Audible that's similar to the book, we're going to do an hour and 45 minutes, not 16 hours. And every character is going to be a different actor. So it's basically like the 1940s, where people would sit around their radios like Orwell and listen to these stories, but things are told with sound effects. And so you have to bring this to life. So when they reached out and said, we know that you do Christmas and you're the Christmas content girl, and we want something that's fun and hip but still sweet and has the heart of, Christmas. And they said, what do you have? And it happened pretty fast, to where they wanted it for this year. And we started talking. And of course, I have all these screenplay ideas. And this was a story that I loved and I was ready to do as a movie. So when I first talked to Audible, I said, first of all, I've never written audio, and I'm strong video. I mean, like a lot of a novelist is different, but I think so visually. So I have to figure out, how do I tell a story with sound effects? How do I do this? But I love to stretch. I love to, challenge myself. A lot of times Audible originals are written, they go after authors, but they knew I was a screenwriter. And because this is more in the screenwriting world, it was written as a screenplay. In the same format, much different, because of all the things. Like an example is, you wouldn't say to the director, the red house, and then you'd see on the scene and you'd be coming up. It has to be there. You hear crunching in the snow, crunch, crunch. Oh my goodness, look at that house. Oh, it's so cute. The red and the Christmas lights. And I love the green door, right? So it's
Karen,
dialogue.
you have to write all that.
Yes,
so you're
100%. I have to write the crunching of the feet.
The crunch, crunch.
Yes, I have to do everything. And you have to think, what I did, I spent a week before writing, and I write fast. I've written screenplays in a week, going through sound effects and putting in so it's like your hot cocoa, clink, 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 or a music box. So I found sounds that I thought were Christmas and made sure before I even wrote the story, so I could do that. So I had a plane trip that I wouldn't normally do, because in a movie, it's expensive to put a person on a plane unless it really moves the story forward. There's a reason for them to be. But in my case, I needed transitions. How do you transition? There's no, in a scene you cut and you're at a Christmas tree farm, and next cut you're inside a cafe. How do you do that? How do you do that in audio? How do you know? And so you have to be so creative. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's the chime of the door, like ding, 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 like when you open a door, like you kind of hear the chime. Or in my case, it was like, okay, I'm headed to so-and-so. And then you hear, a plane taking off, and, this is flight so-and-so, we're going to land, welcome to your flight. So that is your transition. Okay. This has to be done like 100 times. Because think of how many times there's transitions every minute, when you watch a Christmas movie. So when I was looking at this, and they believed in me, and Audible has been one of the most amazing. I just had like really great news right before this call, which I can tell you about. So I had to get permission, because it's all like all the movies too. It's top secret, and I have to get, it's in my contract that I'm not allowed to share or announce anything until they do. But they knew I'm doing the podcast with you, and they know how awesome you guys are, and they know it's my, celebration week of my book. And so they've allowed to let me give a little bit, and I'm going to get you guys to explain get you guys to be part of my little game here. So when I was asked to do this, I'm signing the contracts and everything, and I get to be, they know I do a lot of Christmas covers. So they said I got to be involved in the covers, and they said I got to send them a list of people that I think could be my stars, or anybody that's in it. And I was like, wait. And the reason, like I said, remember, I protect myself in movies. I don't get that control. I never get that control. So all of a sudden, I also had to think about voices.
Yes.
There's a lot of women, including myself, that we all sound very similar. And I thought, whoever is acting, and they have a list. There are people, this is the full time what they do. And let me tell you what I have learned doing this Audible project. I have so much respect. They don't have their good looks, their raised eyebrow, their quirky smile. They don't have the clothes they're wearing to say, hey, I'm sporty, or hey, I'm a businessman. They have nothing to tell their story in an Audible story except their voice.
Yeah.
And the screenwriter has the responsibility to have lines and have ways, where you could say, like, this is making this up, but if somebody's like, oh my gosh, my hair is so curly, it's driving me crazy, I need it straightened, so, now you're envisioning curly hair, because you're not going to see it. So it really challenged me and pushed me. And so right away, when they asked for a dream cast, I asked them, honestly, I'm like, honestly, do I really get to have a say in any of this, Amy? Because I was like, no, but because I'm just so not used to it. And they said, no, we want to hear. And I immediately, because of Rama Drama, and I got to meet some of the male stars, I immediately had an idea of someone. And like, bam, because of the voice. I thought, what voice for my sexy voice that's fun and sexy, and because you got to listen to this voice. And I also, is really important as part of my contract, Audible knows that I write movies. I kept the movie rights and I kept the book rights, and Amazon, of course, owns Audible, or vice versa. They're partners. So Amazon Studios will get a first look at this and have the opportunity to make the first offer and to do that. And so I am definitely going, I love this story, you guys. This story is magical because it is music. I had to write an original song, which I've never done. There is singing, and I can't. I'll tell you much more when we can talk closer to, because there's some really special things about the music. There's also a mystery, and there's clues throughout. And so you have a love story, you have music, you have all of this. So I told her, I said, I have a dream cast. And so a dream star. I had my number one pick. And before I did it, though, I thought, I got to talk to this person. Now, I'd met this person at Rama Drama, and he's, the Hallmark, does tons with Hallmark, of course.
Okay, so our list is narrowed.
Yes.
It's a Hallmark, it's a Rama Drama guy. So
this is smart. And
so
I
it's
don't
a
know if
guy.
we've seen any comments. I want to see if anyone can guess. If there is, if we have anyone watching, because I know a lot of people watch the playback.
But Rama Drama with a great voice.
Yes, somebody with Rama Drama. Well, first of all our men have great voices, but they also have so much more, So I just was like, what's a distinctive voice? So then I got to reach out, and I've never done this, First of all, to be honest, I asked Gabrielle, one of the founders of Rama Drama, to say who of the actors don't bring the drama, because Audible, is different than movies, and it's probably not going to pay. I can't speak, I don't know contracts, but traditionally, even Audible said, the big movie stars a lot like to do it because it's a different space. But I wasn't sure people had time. It's time consuming. And so I wanted to make sure before I gave it to Audible, I did say I have somebody that is known in the Hallmark world and other, places as well. But I said, I really think it'd be great for the audience because I love that audience so much. They watch my other movies, they read my books, and I'd love to bring this in to the family. And she was like, has he ever done audio? And I'm like, no. So meanwhile, I asked Gabrielle, and as you know, with Rama Drama, she said, Karen, all of my stars don't bring the drama, or they wouldn't be here at Rama Drama. They're good people. This is, we curate the best people to be there for the fans.
Good people.
Good people.
So many good people. So
and that's what makes it different. So I basically went to my number one. It was in my gut. It was in my heart. Had never had a conversation except at the very first one in Nashville. Hi. You know what I mean? I think we were standing to get a glass of wine with everybody at a bar. So he's friendly, he's nice, in his personal life, but really had nothing. So I got his phone number and permission, to call and we talked for an hour. And what I loved about this person was I gave it was kind of like almost like I was pitching, but it was also like I was speaking with Audible today. I took a huge chance because, first of all, I'm new with Audible. They don't know me.
Yeah.
I'm getting a huge opportunity. The part I've missed, you guys, this is Audible. They're releasing, I think, 6 or 7 Christmas stories, original stories. Like I said, only one is multicast, which is mine. Only one.
Ooh, wow.
So this is huge opportunity,
Karen, this is coming out this Christmas.
Yes, December 1st.
Okay.
December 1st. And
Thursday,
so,
I think.
Which is super exciting. But I thought whoever I recommend, if they don't like it, if they're a diva or, whatever, I'm just saying it's a big responsibility to recommend someone when I'm also trying to show who I am in a brand new space. But I knew in my heart this person could be good. What I love what they said is, I've never been in that space. A lot of people have told me I should be in, do something in in audio space. Yeah. And he's like, I love to learn. My goal is to keep learning and to keep growing as a human and as an actor. I would love to look at doing that with you. So I went back and told them, and I remember Audible said, send us your audio. Like they asked me, get his audio tape. He doesn't have an audio tape. I also knew he was busy shooting a movie. So I just took some interviews I'd seen him and put them together. He doesn't know this, and kind of made a little tape. So I go, here's this tape. I made it, and I explained. But anyway, they did. And I just heard, and let me see if I can find her email. I'm going to bring it up. Because the audio files, you guys, they just sent them to me, the first audio files, which is like a rough cut of a movie. And I was, you're so scared. And let me say she won't kill me by just reading a teeny bit of this, I don't think. But it says, I'm so excited to share the audio files for, and drum roll, please. The name is Once Upon a Christmas Carol. With you. And it said, I listened to the first 25 minutes thus far, and it's so good. And it says this person's name's sexy voice. And then it says, oh, wait, here it was. I'm trying to find it. That is, because they say more about, oh my gosh, now I wasn't planning to do this. You know how we just kind of do, I just do whatever it is. Oh yes. And it says, you were so right about this person, because remember, I took a chance. Yeah. And he said, his voice is smooth, deep, and delicious like hot chocolate. He is swoony even without seeing his handsome face.
Okay, right?
Okay, let's go. What do you think?
Can I read some of the things?
Dead giveaway.
Yes.
It's a dead giveaway. But there was Wes Brown was in the chat. Yes. For sure was Wes Brown. And then there was the Brian Pavey a couple of times. And I'm going to read something that Sheila wrote in here. Ryan's mama was an English teacher, and she trained him to be well-spoken.
Oh, that's obviously that great diction, where I love it when he plays like in the Darcy movies. I know Terry Wilson, who wrote those novels. As a journalist now, I'm getting to meet these amazing authors that the books are adapted. And I love it because he seems so regal and stiff. He plays that a lot with this beautiful diction. And, we're talking Ryan Pavey here, in case you didn't know, because everybody knows this is who he is. And one of the things I said, even to Ryan, I said, I know you're an actor. You can play anybody. That's what actors do. But I go, this is a little bit more relaxed, and it's a father. So I will say Wes Brown, who I loved and met at Rama Drama, I've seen just in his social how amazing he is with his daughter. Amazing. And he would have been, and he also is musical. This only is one of the only characters that isn't. And the actor that I was talking to said, because I was mentioning it's a musical, and he's like, I don't sing. And I'm like, no, you don't have to sing. You're the only one, practically that doesn't have to sing. You have a guest from Tyler
Hines and Morgan.
And I love Tyler. And Tyler has a great voice too. I feel like it's funny because they all have good voices, but this voice, and I think that you guys watching are really smart. The voice that sticks out to me, it was in my head, was Ryan Pavey. It's Ryan Pavey. I know. How can there's something about his, and obviously the Audible executive, she's ahead of everything. Right. She should be writing book blurbs for me. For all of us. She's above that. But the fact that she said smooth, like hot, that's exactly how it is, right?
Right. And it always is like that. Like even if you're just standing by the bar at the back of karaoke night, that's how his voice is.
Yes, and it is. And so I asked, if he'd do it. It was actually at Rama Drama. We talked before that, and I didn't even barely get a chance to talk to him, but he came over to me and he said, my agent's talking to him right now. We're going to do the deal. We're going to do it. And, there was a big, and it's so funny. we never know. And I know actors a lot of times don't know either. I knew he was doing a Christmas movie for Hallmark. Of course,
Yeah.
he does, I believe, one every year. I think he,
Mhm.
has that deal with them. But I just saw it announced. So Audible, Once Upon a Christmas Carol, starring, oh, and we have so many more. I will tell later about our female star, who is huge as well. Not someone you're going to recognize, not an actress, but in the audio world, like a
Yeah.
legend, amazing. And we also have a young girl that will be the daughter. And we have some just amazing cast of characters. I can't even tell you, they're all so talented. And I think the funnest part is they sent me files of everybody, and we'd have 8 or 9 people audition, and I got to pick my favorites. And then with the executive, we'd go back and forth and say, what about, and they would tell me things that I didn't pick up, because I'm new to Audible.
Yeah.
And I'm just, as a consumer, I would pick up things that they said were helpful because they're so in the production. So that's what I think collaboration should be about. We come from different worlds. And one of the things when we were working on the cover, I'm like, oh, more twinkle lights. And she was like, well, we have. I go, no, more twinkle lights, more twinkle lights, And she, I go, twinkle lights win. But I am so grateful to Ryan. I have not talked to him since he's recorded. I know it was just his birthday, and I've been busy. But his movie, don't quote me when, you guys probably know. So what are the odds? Christmas movies start in a couple of weeks on Hallmark, right?
This Tuesday.
Yeah, and yes, and my project, Once Upon a Christmas Carol, drops on December 1st, and I think his Christmas movie with Hallmark is on the 2nd or 3rd of December.
Yeah, same weekend. It's going to be rolling out. So,
A fun week.
Yeah, it's
right?
going to be great. And I'm just so grateful. And I really wanted to bring it. The Audible fans are going to, get to, if it's somebody that doesn't know Ryan, maybe they're not watching Hallmark, because that does happen, but they're going to hear this new voice. And I think that the people of Hallmark who can maybe hear Audible, there's new people there that they're going to find. So I just thought that the crossover would be beautiful.
Yeah.
I truly believe that Ryan will go on. And I knew he'd do an amazing job, but you never know. There's so many factors that go into it to even see it. But I really believe he can go on to be really special in the space if he so chooses to do so. Because I just think his voice, and whoever left that message, I think is very telling. It's just to communicate with your voice. And you guys, I can't believe this is a Rama drama story too. And I have not told this story anywhere yet. I don't even know. Yes, I can tell you. Again, snippets, and then lots more later, closer to. But there is a narrator at the beginning, and it's very important. Think Bridgerton. That was my inspiration.
Oh, yeah. Lady Whistledown.
Okay. It's Lady Whistledown. It is a Lady Whistledown. That was my inspiration. And especially for Audible, that's going to work, right?
Because Julie Andrews, by the way.
Oh, by the way, I asked for her. They laughed at me.
Always ask for Julie Andrews. Always.
I mean, come on now. I mean, they told me I could ask for my Dreamcast. So in it, I wanted it to be exactly like that. I even put, so you have to write all these descriptions. So when they're casting, I put regal, sophisticated, all-knowing, kind of that omnipresent narrator that's going to be all-knowing over there, and just this very so anyway, they sent me, I'm at Rama Drama, and I got a terrible cold. I did not have COVID, thank God. I was testing every day, but I have allergies, and I had post-nasal drip, which sounded like COVID, so I was so scared every day taking the test, but it just rawed out my voice. My voice was super deep and terrible, and I got the audio files, and they needed to pick this narrator. We're in production to make this. And I listened to everybody was amazing that auditioned, but they just didn't have that deep, and it was the pacing. It was the way they were reading it. And that's probably on me. I didn't write, maybe the ... wasn't in the right place. And I was trying to, on my text at Rama Drama, right before one of the days, opening up in the morning, I'm trying to say, oh, no, put the break. It needs to go. And I'm like, oh, so I just record it on my phone, and I go, do not laugh at me. And remember, this is a new relationship with Audible, so we're not besties, or you know what I mean? Like, they don't know me, except to probably know I'm Christmas Karen and full of this. But that said, I just thought, oh, I was just in a hurry. I'm like, here's where the inflection is. And so I read it. I'm like, da, 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 and I send it off. So while I'm there, I get back. She's like, I sent it to the producer. She totally gets it. She hears it now, and she thinks you need to do it. I was like, no.
Are you the narrator?
I said, no.
You're Lady Whistledown in your own.
I go, I have been on broadcasting my whole life. I know how to talk much slower, and I know how to tell a story, but that's factual stories. I have never taken acting. I've never been on stage. I don't know how to act. That I don't ever want to act. That's for people that know how to do that. And this narrator is a very, very, very important part. It's, throughout. And even though it's a small part, it's a huge part. And it's the first voice you're going to hear. to see if you're watching, to see if you want to listen, you're going to do that sample and you're going to, probably hear that. And I don't want to mess this up. I want Julie Andrews. I don't want Karen Schaler. I want Julie Andrews. But it's
I
one of the
want
first
Karen
times.
Schaler.
Well, what's funny is I'm trying to learn. So first of all, I took this project because they believed I could do it. They knew I was a screenwriter. They're also not, I don't want to say they're learning, but that's why they're using screenwriters. We're weaving these two worlds together, and all these people, like all these huge Oscar-winning stars, are doing these Audible projects now. And so we're all sort of learning. And I trusted them with that. I had such an amazing time. I thought about it, and they said, think about it. And I thought, I always say, to step out of your comfort zone, which I do my whole life. But I really, because it's so close to my heart, this project, I love it so much, you guys, that I didn't want to mess it up. And I also had this terrible cold. So we waited 3 weeks, and I finally just said, okay, I'll do it. If you believe I can do it, I'll do it. So I've been very nervous. So in the email talking about Ryan, she was so happy with the narrator. And, I was so scared, you guys. I was so scared. I just
Congratulations.
We're all our own worst critic, right? So I'm sure you're harder on yourself than you would.
And I shouldn't say that. I don't want to scare anyone away. It's still good, you guys. Don't worry. No, and to be honest, so what's great about directing with Audible, I've never done this. So they sent me this kit. I posted this on social, this huge, huge kit. And I say, a project is coming. And I set up in my closet. And you have producers, directors, sound people. It's a whole day. And they'll tell you, no, inflection here, no, a little deeper. Can you bring more? Can you do this? So I was directed just like an actor would be, I imagine. And the reason that it turned out so well, according to them, and again, I'm going to believe them. I haven't heard it yet. I'm going to believe them, is because they were my, coach. I mean, they directed me, they taught me, they were so patient. My voice was cracking because I was sick, and they'd let me do it over. And then the beginning is such an important, we do the whole thing. And she goes, you want to go back and do the beginning now that you're, I had my mojo. I kind of understood what they needed. And we went back. They were so amazing, you guys. They were so great to work with.
Process?
Oh gosh, for me, it's funny to set it up. They had planned like an hour and a half just to walk you through setup. But because I've been in television, I understood the audio board. I understood how to put even though I had the microphone upside down, apparently, because when you go into an audio studio, a lot of times the microphone's like this, it's hanging, and they wanted it this way. So I had to move that around. And so then I had these parts that I would read. They adjusted a few times. So it was pretty, for me, I mean, it took a couple hours, even though they were small, but that was mainly because I had to go back. For Ryan, we'll have to ask him, because I'd love to hear. The reason it's challenging is they used to bring actors into a studio together. So they'd bring the two stars, into a place. I don't believe they did that. I actually didn't ask. I'm guessing because all the stars are so busy. They did the same as me. They might have had portable. And Ryan's never done this before. And I mean, literally, they're talking for an hour and 45 minutes. There's no breaks here, guys. But there's a little audio here, a little audio here. But, they're just on. At least in movies, they can walk. They can do stuff, but you're not going to have that much silence in this, or else it's dead air.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard. And he's on, I mean, he's there. Like, I just was so excited about it. So thanks for letting me share. I'm going to have a lot more, and they're going to give me audio ones to give away. So I'll have some to get to give away. They say as soon as it goes up for pre-order. So we'll have to jump back on, and we'll have to reach out to.
Let's do an Instagram live when you're
able to. Oh my God,
yes,
totally.
Let's do that. That will be so fun.
Maybe Ryan.
And you guys, this weekend, I jumped onto TikTok.
Oh
no way!
Okay,
I did.
Okay, wait. There is a reason, because this little baby book, remember I said, is late this year. So I have a whole marketing that I kind of copied from HarperCollins, quite frankly, back in 2018 when they launched, my other books. Yeah. So I don't know how to do all this. Yeah, and times have changed, but not only that, I love social. I love being on Insta. Please follow me. I love, love, love. And I do so many giveaways. The post office people actually know me. No lie. I gave away more than 100 books last year, and all these giveaway things that we do. Yeah, it's crazy. But what I wanted to do, I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute. I'm sorry.
No, well, so funny.
We're following on TikTok. At Karen Schaler on TikTok.
Yes, at Karen Schaler. But here's what's crazy. And give me tips. If you're a TikToker, anyone is out there, please give me tips. I did research.
A big time TikToker.
Well, do you know what you are?
No, but Wendy, she was at Ramadrama, and she has a very big Hallmark following on TikTok. So too. And she has a
Yes.
new podcast. Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, then I definitely, well, in the TikTok world, book talk is what I was going to look at, but I thought,
Mhm.
what can I give? It's not like buy my book. That's not who I am.
No.
The reason I did it is this story is so important to me, and I didn't do all my normal things. I didn't advertise. I didn't do my normal giveaways, earlier in the year, starting in July. And I felt like this book is the best thing probably that I've written, and nobody's going to know about it. And one of my friends says, well, why don't you go on book talk? And I'm like, oh my gosh, a whole nother social media thing to learn. So I said, you know what, though, what I can do is give tips. I get a lot of questions, and I do a lot of like mentoring. There's a local college I've been asked, I've been going, and I get so much out of it, you guys. No matter how tired I am, no matter how busy I am, when I can go in and answer students' questions, that's why we said send in your questions.
Yeah.
I love that. It inspires me, it empowers me. It's been a really rough year for me, and there's so many things I can't control when you're dealing with family members and health and challenges we've all gone through in life. So if I can do something to give back to somebody else, so you'll see on TikTok, what I'm doing is I'm talking about tips and I'm going to give back. I just jumped on, and one of my first posts, I had 2 followers. Not viral because it didn't hit 1 million, but it has like 155,000 views.
152 right now.
Yes, right. Oh my gosh, see, it's climbing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be giving tips now. Of course, the book birthday, so I'm looking at what other TikTokers are doing, and I want to be able to give back. And so there's a lot of questions on the one that I started to like tick up with, and there's like 400 or 500 questions. And I think that shows people are curious about making movies. People want the writing tips for this kind of content. So that's where I'm going to live. And before I forget, wait, really quick before, because I know you have some fun things coming up. Okay, first time for this book as well, because remember, I'm like, you always do what you've always done. You'll always get what you've always gotten. So this was a year of all new things. So TikTok as
of that.
Yes, right. I mean, it's in my head.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I always do these things where I give autographed books, like we're giving away today.
Right.
Not very many people, not everyone can go to Rama Drama. Not everyone's going to win the competition. So I thought, okay, somebody in the UK gave me the idea. Do you guys know what book plates are? Because I didn't know.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
my dad is a teacher. We make them.
Oh, so see, you're so smart. Okay, so I was asked actually by my in the Czech Republic is where my books come out, and they say, do you have book plates? And what they are is they're these stickers. I designed this one to go with this story. So always believe, and it's Holly because there's Holly Peak, and then I will write names. So, and then what you do for those watching, there's actually a page in the book. They're always like this. The books have been made since the time. It's the second title page. And then you just stick it on here, and everyone, my commitment is every single person can have an autographed book. And even if you can't, like maybe this year times are tight and you're like, Karen, we have one of your other books, but I can't get this one this year. That's okay. I'll still send you this for the other books. And all you need to do, it's free, is send me. And I just got a bunch of these self-addressed stamped envelope, legal size. And the reason you want legal size is because after I send you this, you guys know about them, my bookmarks.
Yeah.
And they're so fun. I'm just getting it not in the light. They're fun because they're collectible, and somebody gave me the tip to sign them. And apparently that's a thing if they're signed. And then this one shows some of my other projects. So then I can go and put them in there and send them back to you. Yes. And I've been talking to people this week doing some media, and I've opened one. So I want to open one. Can I open one? Because I've been waiting to do them tonight. Okay.
So you need to do this on your TikTok too. That's my pro tip. Opening things is a reveal. Oh. It's a TikTok thing. So
I'm going to I've been researching. I have a whole book where I'm like, trending sounds. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is like a fat one. Usually they're just like an envelope. So I don't know. I won't show the name. Oh my gosh. Well, this person sent a legal size. Maybe they thought legal size. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so smart though. And I have some, I just opened the one yesterday. Somebody sent me a Christmas card. And then I said, if you have 5 people, just put the names you want and I'll write the names. And so I have people from like this one, a different country. And I said, hey, as long as it has, I can get it back. Just put a stamp on it and I can get it back. Yeah. So I've kind of hoarded them and saved them, because I've been wanting to. And now all of a sudden the book came out. Everything's happening too fast these days for me. So that's what I'm going to do. And on my website, I apologize to those of you that I've told that I would have it yesterday. Every year I have the DIY Christmas Camp Guide where I add all of my books have recipes and activities. And this guide is a book. It's like, it's a free downloadable PDF. It looks like a book. And it has activities and recipes from all my books and activities from all my movies. Like we paid Pictionary and the Tony Braxton Lifetime movie,
Right.
Christmas Pictionary, which is really fun. And so I do that, and every year I add. So usually by pub date, you would now download it this year so you can get this year's recipes and all of this year's stuff. And I'm still working on it. So I'm a little slow. But if you give me till Friday, just go on my website, KarenSchaler.com, and you get all the swag, and there's going to be so much fun. But I know. And I love what you guys do because you give back every day. Are we ready to do this?
Should we pick our 3 winners for
Yes.
And you had a lightning round of questions, didn't you too?
We do have questions too. So let's pick the winners and then we'll do a couple of those questions.
Yeah.
Oh good. I just I get so excited I'm overly chatty. I
would like to ask a couple of the questions in the chat.
Yes.
Also.
I would love that.
So we have 3 copies of Christmas Camp and they're all autographed.
Beautifully autographed.
And I'm gonna do 3.
I feel like
on everybody's name. So we have.
You have to hold it up so we can see you drawing.
Of course, I probably get the hardest name. Liberella.
Oh, that's a pretty name.
That's really beautiful.
I'll go on Instagram, and that was her. So she draws. So her handle is Liberella Draws. I'm mispronouncing that. So we'll go back and look. And then let's see.
You have to hold up. There you go. I love the
there
drama.
you go. So we can see.
Cottage book reviews.
Okay, nice.
Love it.
In fact, I clicked on that when I saw that comment underneath, and as a smaller gal just starting to do something, so super fun.
Perfect. Oh, that's good. I love to support.
Hold on. Okay, and Lillian.
Oh, God.
Yay! Oh, I love that name.
Lillian was at Roma Drama.
Yes.
Oh, yay! Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so exciting. Oh my goodness. And so congratulations. And here's my challenge. It'll be quick. If you have seen the Hallmark movie, and now the only reason we could do a whole podcast on that, the only reason it's not in the normal rotation is they actually did a theatrical release. They had a partnership, I believe, with Mar Vista, and I'm not sure how that all worked, but it actually saw Christmas Camp in a movie theater in Canada.
Right.
And because of that, it's a little different. So you have to watch it on Amazon Prime. But it's really fun to read the book first because the screenplay was just like the book. But then you will see how much changed. How much, how it works in Hollywood.
It will be a fun comparison for sure.
Exactly.
All right, Julie, you lead us off with the favorite things.
Oh, I'm going to read a question or two first.
Okay.
Dawn asks, she loves your Christmas books. Do you write a Christmas book every year?
Great question. I'm going to answer these short so we can, zip through. So far I have I started in 2018. That's when I did my first movie. And since I can't control doing a movie every year, it was my commitment to do a book. And then the pandemic hit, and I've had a lot of, like I said, some health issues with my dad. But regardless, I've made a commitment to people to try and bring that joy. So the answer is yes.
Awesome. Sheila asks, quick, have you ever, you with all your travel and travel therapy, have you considered writing a Christmas movie set in one of your more unusual places as a destination?
I love that. Great question. It was Sheila, I think you said.
Yeah,
Sheila,
and
I love
incorporate different traditions too of that.
Exactly. Well, Royal Christmas Fairy Tale, if you haven't read, I used a lot of unique traditions, including the upside down Christmas tree.
Yes.
That's actually a thing. People would do it too small houses. They'd hang it upside down. So I love that so much. My grandparents lived in Mexico almost 30 years, and I spent a lot of Christmases there. And I've wanted to do that. Right now, that people really want people of the actual cultures to write about the cultures, to give other people opportunities that haven't been given that opportunity. So I couldn't pitch that right now, but I really want to use some of the traditions and everything I learned from you, especially traditions. On my Facebook page, I ask that a lot, and I get so many ideas, that I just love. So great question.
I love that. So Charlene says, is there a movie currently out or in production based on one of your books?
Oh, great. The one, Finding Christmas, was about to be, but is not at the moment. But I'm in talks with people about 2 of the books, but I can't.
Okay, that's exciting.
That is.
I know, but just it's very early. It's very early. So any producers out there happen to be watching, I'm looking for a home for my stories and my novels that haven't already been made.
Sounds amazing. Hey, so we have a game we play. It's favorite things, but we really like that you've had so much travel as that's part of you and your things that you do. So I adjusted our questions a little bit. So, do you have a favorite beach?
Oh, that's so hard. It's supposed to be lightning round. In the British Virgin Islands, there is an island called Peter Island, and that beach has a lot of good memories.
Okay, love that.
Mountain.
You have to get my travel therapy book, or actually traveltherapytrips.com. You guys, I just revamped my website.
Oh, fun.
Go there, and
Okay.
you pick trips based on what you're going through in life. And I'm hoping to bring that back. They air on national shows, but if I'm mentioning a place you don't know, go to my travel therapy trips and you can find it.
Love it.
That's so fun. Okay, how about a favorite mountain?
Oh, that'd have to be Mount Rainier because I'm from Washington State. And so me and my mom, every year we do a drive. We've been doing it. It's so beautiful. But a close second is Zermatt, Switzerland. Probably one of the most magical places. In the little town of Zermatt, you're not allowed cars. So it's just this walkable, charming, just like you would picture Swiss chalets. And I've skied at Zermatt. I'm a skier. So that's a really close second. I have the nostalgic and then, my adventurous side.
Right.
Okay, I love that. Destination you would go to over and over.
That's probably the British Virgin Islands. When I go, I charter a sailboat, and this sounds very bougie, and it's not. It's actually cheaper than staying in the $700 a night hotels. You can charter a catamaran or a monohull, and you go right on the fringe of hurricane season if you're gutsy like me. Never had a problem. Knock on wood somewhere. But that way you can sail. It's kind of a Jimmy Buffett lifestyle. You just go to different islands. It's not like touristy type things.
Yeah.
It's the places cruise ships can't go.
Yeah.
And it's been very relaxing to me. A place, I'm just going to jump to a question that a place I want to go back to, but it's not one I could go all the time, is Africa. There's so many more places. So that's probably everyone asks my favorite trip. And I say that is hard, but a trip I took to Malawi where I was there a month and I volunteered at an orphanage was life-changing. And I would like to do more of that. That's not something, I would love to return.
My niece is there right now.
Is she?
Yes.
Is she in Africa or in Malawi?
So I think she's in Malawi. I think doing it on a missions trip. I will need to look it up.
Oh my gosh, you'll have to. I was so you can play this back. I was in the village of it's near Lilongwe. It was an orphanage near Lilongwe, and so that's where I spent time. But that was life changing for so many different reasons. I love these questions, you guys. I'm doing good with short answers, right? I'm doing good.
Now I have to look because maybe I'm completely wrong. How about your favorite place to have a drink?
Oh my gosh, I feel like since normally I would have that down in a second, right? But since COVID, oh gosh, how could I not? I usually have a picture of it. I took my dad for his 75th birthday, the Soggy Dollar Bar in the British Virgin Islands. And it's on a little tiny island called Joost van Dyke. And Jimmy Buffett's been there. And the great story is the reason back in the day when it wasn't, now you can get there easier. But you had to have a sailboat or have a boat offshore and you had to swim. There was no dock and you would have your Soggy Dollar. And it was literally 4 seats at the bar and an igloo cooler, which they created. It's called a painkiller, which now is all over the Caribbean. With the fresh nutmeg on top. But by far, my favorite, I actually had a dream the other day. 3 of my movies I wrote in foreign countries where I just go and rent a place for a month and become immersive. Really small places you would have never heard of. I do that on purpose because I want to have travel therapy, which is my other thing that I do while I'm writing. But I just think that I just kind of had this dream that I just went there. They just added these little kind of bungalow, very just simple. Not want to say simple, but it's not, the Ritz-Carlton. And I just want to go there for a month. And this would be really unhealthy for my liver. I can't remember the last time I had a painkiller, but I'd like to have one a day, maybe we'll only go for a week just to relax. I've had quite the year and I can dream of that.
100%.
Sounds amazing. Okay, how about your favorite place to eat a meal?
Oh, any place that's a Michelin-starred restaurant would be, or a great creative chef. I say that I either like Michelin-starred, not bougie, because it's food I've usually never had because I grew up pretty modest, or the taco stand on the street in Alamos, Mexico, where my grandparents, where it's local, authentic, and just the real deal. So it's hard. I am a foodie in terms of, I love food. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And so I don't have a favorite yet, but those type where I'm going to have an experience. I remember I was in Rome and they created this dish that you open little drawer and compartments, and there was a little, like this big, it's like a jeweled box, but it was confection. It was made like a pastry chef. And then you open drawers where there were little mini like truffles that were handmade. I was like, I am in heaven. I love all things chocolate, which I should write more because I have a lot of background covering food. And I know Lacey, she always must have. I've not talked to her. I don't know. I haven't met her, but I'm guessing she loves baking because I see so many where there's a thread of foodie in her storylines too. So
we've never met her either. So
yeah, I think she'd be a perfect one to put into one of those stories. She obviously has a passion for it.
Right.
Okay. What about your favorite movie?
Oh man, that's like asking like my favorite kid, I mean,
One of your favorites.
I know. Well, people ask me my favorite Christmas movie all the time, and that's hard enough. But I got my pat answer only because I was asked it a lot. And I liked Miracle on 34th Street as a classic because I grew up, it was just my mom and I grew up and I always believed in like the magic, of Christmas and all of that. And prior to the pandemic, I lived 15 years in New York City, right in Manhattan. So I would see the Macy's parade, and right now I'm sort of in limbo, LA, New York, Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm just sort of, I don't really have a home. I mean, I'm staying put to keep an eye on my dad, and don't know where I'll land, but I can do some really like favorite movies. There's so many like ones that sort of stand out. Like Out of Africa was something that really resonated with me. And these are like older movies, like I think Color Purple, Out of Africa. I say the movie I wished I would have wrote is because I have a journalism background. I really want to start. I'm working on 2 dramas right now, but based on true life stories that are inspiring and feel good. But The Blind Side, I love the movie Sandra Bullock with The Blind Side because that's the kind of story I wish, or Hidden Figures, again, where it's based on true life.
Figures.
Kind of that underdog where you have the underdog that has to rise up. And as a romantic comedy, since Sandra Bullock's on my mind, I love The Proposal with her and Ryan Reynolds. I love all the romantic comedies. So, back in the day, the Who's Got Mail and Harry Met Sally. And it's so fun on TikTok. I just saw someone young and she's so cute. She's like, I'm watching all the 90s rom-coms. Please send me ideas because I hear they're great. So it's someone that's watching like To All the Boys and, all these young Netflix. And now they're realizing my generation, dating myself, these rom-coms that is why I resonated.
On the 90s rom-coms. Yeah.
Yes, like exactly. So I told her when she didn't have Notting Hill on it. So I was like, you must watch Notting Hill with Hugh Grant, Julia Roberts. Yeah.
Right.
I love that question.
Yeah. That's usually the question we ask is what's your favorite rom-com, but we made it a little broader for you.
There's too many.
Right. No, I love hearing what people's favorite movies are. It gives you like this like broader view of them too. Right.
Because you tend to write what you love.
Have very specific, like this is my absolute favorite movie.
Oh. Wow. I guess my brain is too.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think you're up, Julie.
Am I up? Okay. What is your favorite like song or musician? Band.
This is another one because I lived in New York. All of a sudden, I went from having a playlist to having no playlist because I was never in the car.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was always writing when I don't write to music. I love Shonda Rhimes talks about one of the ways she could write anywhere. She would, have really, all these different like music, or she could write in a cafe. I'm the opposite. I like it really quiet. I want to work on that. Music. I mean, it really is. It's funny. I one of the things as I'm writing, I don't watch the Christmas movies. Like I won't, I'll watch them later, but DVR is full of them for research. But while I'm writing, I'm very spongy. I don't want to accidentally borrow an idea that I don't know that I'm borrowing. So I keep myself in a really good headspace, especially started with the pandemic. So I tend to watch inspiring things, even if it's like The Bachelor, which is crazy ridiculous. And I actually have done some content with Jesse Palmer, the host now. And when he was in New York on the Daily Mail, I would be on as their travel expert. So when I saw Jesse, I was like, yay. And even though I know the formula, I know how it works, I know how the casting is and all of that, from working in television and some behind the scenes, I like it because it keeps me current, because it's 20, 30-year-olds dating and I can watch the language, or I can, learn as a screenwriter. Well, I'm watching dialogue because I guess I'm not 20 anymore. I think I am, but I apparently am not. Yeah. So I like that. But what I'm watching currently, like I love when someone say, what did you like watch last night? Is I'm watching The Voice, And the reason I love it's the music a long way around that. The reason I love it is because I love the personal stories. I love these kids
Yes.
and adults that are coming, from all over to sing. I am inspired, and that's kind of I just fill myself with these inspirations. But it's terrible. I have not listened to music like full playlists in a long time. I mean, of course, who doesn't love Lady Gaga? There's a million. So my background though of music, in terms of what I loved, is I grew up. It was college in LA. I was a nanny my senior year of high school, but I listened to punk rock. So I listened to a lot of punk because it was high energy. I love the B-52s. I was just. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do a TikTok too. I just heard, because it's all coming back, right? Like Billy Idol, Dancing with Myself. Wouldn't that be fun when you're decorating? I'm decorating with myself. Okay. People are like, we're never watching.
I have Adam Ant.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, I love Adam Ant. So if I get a chance, I like. Yeah. Oh my! I saw Devo in concert. So those are the things I guess I like. That's the music that I like. But it's funny. I'm an equal opportunity. There's some country that tells songs. I don't like the super anything sad. I don't like heavy metal. I even have some friends that, in a band. I like storytelling, singer-songwriter type music. I just love anything that's telling a story or makes me feel something. And right now for my dad, I was putting together a playlist for him and kind of doing this. There's 50s, but we're actually doing 70s because it was a more fun and more upbeat and, more, not so much sad, and things like that. Because music is like travel. It just completely impacts you, which I learned with the Audible project when I wrote an original song. And you'll see it's a I don't want to say too much, but it's a mashup. So which is almost harder because I had things I had to do. But you can picture called Once Upon a Christmas Carol. You can be another little tip. There are going to be classic Christmas carols.
Awesome.
And I feel the nostalgia of that is what touches me the most. So but I don't have, I can't say one artist, I'm not definitive. I got to think about that because I love music. I haven't been able to listen to any. If I have a moment, I'm listening to the podcast. There's a great podcast with John August and Craig Mazin. They've been doing it for 10 years. It's called Script Notes. Highly recommend it. That's if I have a moment, I'm listening to them. Or my Writers Guild. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh my gosh, that's terrible because I have it on like repeat. But it's with WGA East, and you can go and find it. And if you're an aspiring writer, they're so good, and they're encouraging, uplifting. They're always bringing on the latest, hot director, or writer or something you can learn from, especially writers being the Writers Guild.
Right. Well, I love that you throw out 80s punk though. That was like,
no, we have a connection, Julie.
Yeah, completely in on that. I throw music on when I bake. So
I love that. And so that it had such high energy. I know I went to London and I really love that, of course a lot of the punk came, from the UK and had that background, and I just loved it. I loved all of it. And it just, and then I was thinking, like, I saw the Cure, Depeche Mode, all of those, because I was in LA at the time.
So
those are all things I saw in college. Yeah. And if you're out there listening and you're only 20 years old or 30, you're going to be really hip, like the TikToker, if you start listening to 80s and 90s music.
And we got a lot of Prince around here. Like Prince plays, like
I love that. Well, genius. He's so
because
genius.
I'm in the Twin Cities. I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh, well, you're like required.
Required. You walk into the Vikings game and Prince is blaring, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like Prince everywhere, but there was a lot of Prince and the Purple Rain, the movie came out.
Yes, so of course. That was
and
great.
we go downtown to First Avenue where he would just show up and start playing. So it was like we had a lot of that in the time. And
did you see him, Julie?
I saw him once. Yeah. So
you did? Oh my gosh, Julie, that's amazing.
So he just came out and did a little thing and then left, and then that was it.
And that's what I hear. You just pop up. I lived in Minnesota.
Very close to.
Yeah, and I lived in. I worked for KSTP, the TV
You
station.
did?
I was a reporter. Yeah, but I was in the bureau. So it's so funny because I'm moving up. I was very young, and they're like, you're going to be in Alexandria, and you're going to do these 8-minute cutaways. So for that region. So
wait, you were in Alexandria, Minnesota?
Yes,
we're going to stop for a minute because
it always has to go back to Minnesota. Everybody knows.
But wait, this is even bigger, Karen, because as a Hallmarky type writer in Alexandria, Minnesota, is a winery, Carlos Creek Winery. It is the #1 wedding venue in Minnesota right now. It is stunning and spectacular. It's
that was not there when I was there.
No, it's stunning. Well, How long
gotta
ago
write
we
this
here?
down.
Because it's been there since before my kids were born. It's been
Oh,
there
yeah.
since.
I was there. No, it was
so-
definitely not there.
Okay, it is stunning and
Tell
spectacular.
me
It's
the
in
name
number
again.
Carlos Creek Winery.
Is this where Emily got married?
This is where my daughter got married this summer.
No.
But we've been going there since it was tiny because we have a timeshare on Lake Carlos.
I was on Lake Lahamadou.
Okay, so
I lived right on the lake.
The timeshare is.
Look at Sarah's
is
like back to Minnesota.
Wait, the timeshare is on the road between Lahamadou and Carlos, right where the little like bait shop and 7-Eleven.
I was there in the 90s.
Oh no, I've been going there since the 90s. So
okay, I missed a winery. I mean, I don't drink beer and nothing. Again, I'm from Washington, best hops in the world are in Washington, but I don't drink coffee either, and you see why. But how would I miss a winery?
So it was tiny at the time. It is bigger now, and they used to raise Arabian horses there back in the day when we were there. Now that Arabian training facility has been turned into their wedding venue, event center. But where the weddings are, I will drop in our chat pictures of my daughters.
I have to see it.
I'm just like, the area and the lakes area around there.
I do.
Like,
it's gorgeous.
You
it's magical.
Write a book that is based out of there. I will drop you some wedding pictures.
Goodness, I love that.
We might already have a list going for it.
I know, right? We're already developing our story. Wait, I have to tell. I want to tell you one quick thing that you're going to appreciate this, and we'll leave the Minnesota just for the moment because I know we have to wrap up, which I don't want to. But funny story about being a young reporter. You don't make anything in money. To give you an idea, I have 2 college degrees. My first job was $9,500 a year to work in Billings, Montana, and I'm not that old. But being a broadcaster, it was competitive. But here's the thing: I got the pitch to KSTP, so I think I'm going to be in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. But they said, but actually you're going to be in a bureau, but you're still part of, the big market. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm young, and it's going to be anchoring their 10 o'clock news and then doing some reporting. So I'm like, great. So I go out there, and the salary was like $14,500 a year. And I was like, oh, they go, but we found you a house on the lake. And they knew I was from Washington State, that, is all surrounded by water, very similar in terms of the kind of life that you want to live with the view and the water. So it was at the end. So you're going to get it right away, Julie, but I don't think anyone else would. So I'm there in June, and they drive me this beautiful, windy little road along Lake Lahamadou. It's at the very end. It's gorgeous. And I'm at the dead end. I'm like, I love it. I'm private. I like quiet. No, insert obvious joke about the quiet. But I'm on the second floor, and then I have my own dock. And one of the guys has a pontoon boat, and the bar that we'd go to on Lake Lahamadou was just across. So they picked me up. We went to the bar. That's where I learned to play darts because that's what you do in Minnesota. So anyway, I thought this was genius until the winter hit. And one day I go to get home because I'm done at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And there's this snowbank, like the snowplow had gone through, that's like 10 feet high, and it's frozen, and it's covering my cute little charming little road. And I'm like, and it's like 60 below, and I am not exaggerating. And anyway, I don't remember. It's before cell phones. I'm so dating myself. But when I went back to the station, long and short, what I learned was this was a private road. Private meaning the city could plow and shut it, and you're on your own. And secondly, it's summer. Only people are there in the summer. The reason rent was so cheap, no one's there in the winter because the road is blocked. So for the whole time I was there, a year and a half, I had to wear my little Sorel boots and this down parka, and at 11 at night trek through, like some crazy person. I like almost a half mile, one of those half mile. And the days it was too cold, I would stay at the TV station and sleep there. I mean, and that was a lot. The other one was they tricked me into a bowling league, a winter bowling league. So I joined them.
The bowling alley there? The bowling alley is spectacular. It's multi-level.
So I'm just like, no, but the part that was crazy, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. This will be fun. So I could get started in November. But then it was like November, December, January, February. I'm like, okay, when are we done? What do you mean?
Never.
We're done in May because that's when winter ends. So this bowling league, a winter bowling league, is 9 months of the year in Minnesota.
Yeah. No. On top of it, that bowling league hosts some of the biggest bowling tournaments out there, and people come from like all over.
I am going to have to write a story based on Alexandria now. I'm going to have to.
I'm like lying that you were in Alex.
Your experience.
Right
That's
there.
You guys,
really
you
cool.
know you're going to see a story
Yeah.
about someone that rents a charming place and then finds out it's a private road that they
The
can't get
roads
to.
all alone
Yes.
at
On
night.
top of it, there's the giant Viking,
Yes,
only the giant Viking at the end of the road,
Yep.
right?
Oh my gosh.
And
I
then-
think I must have, I had to put one of those plugs in my car, you know, to keep your
to
car
plug
warm.
your car in. Right.
I never even heard of that. I'm like, no,
No,
can't
it's a
do
block
it.
heater. It's called the block heater.
I did
Yeah,
ice
that's what the block
fishing.
heater
We
is.
haven't seen, you know, I think somebody like Tyler or Ryan, they're both so adventuresome. We should do something with ice fishing and snowmobiling.
Yes,
I actually had,
like
I had
Grumpy Old
snowmobiling
Men.
in Christmas camp.
Like
Christmas
Grumpy
camp, I
Old
had-
Men, which was
I
filmed
know.
in Minnesota.
I know. We could have those accents. We can kind of do a far.
Oh, yeah.
even though I also
Oh, yeah.
lived in South Dakota. You know, I lived in
Oh,
all
yeah.
of the places.
We'll bust out the
Okay, I know.
Minnesota
Now, if you're not
accent,
from
okay?
Minnesota, I don't want to lose our audience. It's like not from Minnesota. But wait, should we give away?
Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's give that away.
Let's give that away.
Julie, go through the
Okay,
comments.
Julie, you and I, we're going to talk Minnesota. Minnesota.
I can't believe you were in
Julie
Alex.
talks about Minnesota.
Does anyone in the comments? Does anyone in the comments from Minnesota? Because I just love
Yes.
to know.
Catherine.
Catherine.
Catherine. What does Catherine
Oh.
say she's from? She's loving these stories. She gets it. The rest
She's
of y'all
from
are
the south
going,
side
"What
of the
is
Twin Cities. I'm on the north side. She's close to the Mall of America.
See, the Mall of America, I got there when it wasn't built, and I was one of the first people to go to the Mall of America when it opened. I mean, you know, one of that first wave of people. But
Yes.
that's how long ago I was in Minnesota. These were right out of college. I mean, literally right out of college, my very first jobs where I learned so many life lessons.
Like, don't rent the cabin at the
Yeah.
end of the road
Yeah.
in an area where it's seasonal people staying.
Yeah. Yeah, and the mosquitoes, I'm allergic to mosquitoes, so of course they're the state bird.
And we have
You
real
know?
mosquitoes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They like carry me away. I mean, I would put on, you know what I remember is back in the day where we had to wear nylons I haven't worn nylons in years, but nylons as a news reporter, because you know, I'm an anchor and I'm hosting special events in town.
You did
So
not
you would,
put bug spray over your nylons, did you?
yes, yes. And what I
melts it.
learned, because I'm allergic to them. I mean, so the doctor, I couldn't even take pills. I sprayed deep woods off because that's what I
Just
needed.
Don't
And
mess
it
with the
literally
other
went
stuff.
and disintegrated the nylons.
They melt.
Because
They
that's
melt.
how bad bug spray is for you guys.
They melt.
Disintegrated them.
But
Yeah, they
if you're going to put it on in Minnesota, I will tell you, I work in critical care at a children's hospital. Put the bug spray on because those encephalitis, you don't want that.
And I got bit the other night, even here, and it'll be like on fire. And like the restaurant was like, oh my goodness, and they brought me bug spray. It gets big, and I guess I'm super sweet because they like me. That's what my story, and I'm sticking
the
to it.
same thing would happen. She would get like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
And it
Amanda
hurts.
was in Mankato for 3 years.
Oh,
That's where
See?
Melissa Peterman went to college. Melissa Peterman lives by Kate.
Wouldn't it
Catherine.
be fun, you guys? Wait, let's strategize this. Wouldn't it be fun to have? You know, everyone loved Fargo because North Dakota and the accent and the quirkiness that was actually real.
yeah.
So the people, I was in South
Oh.
Dakota for a couple years, and the Black Hills of South Dakota, gorgeous. We can talk about that another time. But wouldn't it be fun to do a Fargo-esque, but like in Minnesota? And it could be the trope we see a lot, but it could be the city guy or the city girl,
Yeah.
and all the quirkiness of the snowmobiles, of the playing darts, of all these kind of things. I think it would be very. Heart of Dixie was one of my favorite. I love Heart of Dixie so
I love
much.
Heart of Dixie.
And
yeah.
Virgin River's almost kind of, even
Right.
the
Very
doctor
much
is the same.
the
Very similar. But I
Right.
love the fish out of water storyline. And I just think Minnesota, you could use the authenticity. And then
Right.
especially if you brought in the different cultures, depending on where you are, if you have the Norwegian culture or wherever you are, you can have a lot of fun with that.
Swedish. Yeah.
I think
So
we need to, is
it's,
it Swedish or Norwegian? Is it
So
Swedish?
it's mostly Swedish, but there's
Okay.
a ton of Norwegian, anything Scandinavian, because
Yes.
only the Viking is at the end of the road in Alex. When you come off of 94, you go straight north. He's right
Yep,
there.
I'm sure I saw him in my time. And you actually look like you could be, definitely
I'm
Nordic.
Swedish from Minnesota. My grandparents literally immigrated
you
from
are.
Sweden.
Oh my gosh. I
This
love
hair has
that.
been colored never. Like not
Oh.
ever. So it's just how it goes.
I
No, it's
love
like
that.
no, 100% for
Catherine
sure.
says they can, Catherine and Julie can scout locations for you.
Yeah,
I
we'll
love
sell
it.
one.
I'm in. I'm
I'm
in.
sending you pictures of this wedding venue because a wedding needs to be filmed at Carlos Creek Winery. It is spectacular.
Well, first of all, I'm all about wine, so I'm in for that. I'm now
Yes.
on comments. I got to click comments. Oh my goodness, look at all our fun comments. I was trying not to look at you guys just so I wasn't
Yeah.
distracted, because I right now I'm like the
Minnesota's
little dog
calling
with the,
Karen
like,
back. You totally need to write. But the summertime, you were there in the summertime, and between the pontoons and the docks and the
Oh, I
boating
was
and the
sold.
fishing.
I mean, first of all, I had a place on the lake. Like
It's-
you, it was a huge
it's
window. So
stunning.
I'm like, of course, and it was super cheap. Well, now I know why it was super cheap.
Yeah.
You know, but
Right.
back to, and I remember I told my boss, and you know, if we were all very young, including my boss, I'm like, how am I going to get in? You know, if you're in New York now, you'd have to have car service. You know,
Right.
you would require that you be not in Minnesota, and certainly not back in the day when none
And
of that was
certainly not in
consideration.
Alex. Right.
Certainly not in Alex. Exactly. Oh my goodness. I still have some friends that follow, and I don't think they saw it, but they're still in Alex, and he owned the car delership, the Chevy dealership there.
Oh, wait.
Why can't I remember his name now?
I'm trying to think.
And I after I rented that, thank God I met somebody at the TV station because I couldn't stay.
Yeah.
And they owned the Burger Kings, Mary Ellen and Doug. And I stayed. They had a beautiful house in Lake Fancy, and
Lake
I got to stay in the
Fancy.
basement.
Were they
It was
on
like a
Carlos?
basement apartment. Maybe. How do I
Or
not
Darling?
know?
They could have been on
Yes,
Darling.
maybe it was It might have been Darling, but it was fancy.
Over there by the Arrowwood Resorts.
It's funny that I don't remember more. I've lived, though, you guys, in television. I lived in 15 states because as a news reporter, my background, every year and a half, I'll do it in order: Montana, Idaho, Minnesota, South Dakota, Utah, Texas, Massachusetts, Texas, like Arizona.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Boston. That was a big time. I was NBC Boston. So I moved my way up from little Alex.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good one.
I know. Well, this is so much fun. Okay, how are we going to draw for the book?
Okay, so Julie, I think you should, since I did the other one, you should scroll and just
Well,
point.
I know. What about if I do this? What if I pick a number and whatever comment is that number?
Do that.
You know?
We could do
Okay,
it.
My birthday's December 19th. So what about 19th?
The scoop.
Just don't include our comments.
Oh, okay, sure. Just eliminate me now.
Did I just like make you like totally make something hard here?
Nope.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I did. I'm like, oh no.
Nope. Who do you got? I have somebody.
Okay, what do you have?
I'm going to put it in the private chat and we'll see if we have the same person.
You guys, drum roll. Bum, bum, bum.
In the
No, don't
private
forget.
chat?
Oh, and the P.O. box.
Yes, that's
You
who I
guys,
have.
can we list somewhere the P.O. box? Can we put it somewhere so people know later how to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope? So obviously we'll put it down in the chat, but they send it to a P.O. box because that's where the Christmas elves go. And I want to make sure I'm getting a lot of these. I'm going to do this all the way up to about 2 weeks before Christmas. So really try to get them in sooner than later because I don't want to run out. But okay, we have a name. Are you guys excited? Okay, ready?
Say at the same time.
Drum roll.
This is well deserved. Sheila.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sheila. So Sheila, send me your address, even though you've sent it to me 5 times before.
I love it.
I'll pass it along.
Oh, and you know what? It means the world to me because I know you guys, people can watch this at a different time, but that's why I like doing giveaways live because it really means you took time today to be with us and to be part of it. Because it's really, I know, we're sharing stories, but you guys can too. And I want you to ask things. Is there any other questions they have? If we have time for any real quick lightning round from comments? I think we hit a lot of them.
I think we hit
Sheila
all of them.
says, yay, thank you.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
Well, you guys, so in summary, the book is out now. I'd love for you to get it. And again, it's okay if you can't, but still send me the self-addressed stamped envelope. I will send you bookmark. I will send you book plate. If you're buying 5 books or you have 5 older books, just tell me how many you need and tell me the names that I can write them to. Go to my website, KarenSchaler.com. Give me till Friday. Click on the free swag. It's on the homepage with all my books. And that's where you're going to get that amazing DIY Christmas camp guide. I'm hoping to come back closer to December for the Audible project. And we're going to see if we can, swindle Ryan Pavey. I mean, his schedule's busy, but we'll certainly give it a good old college try. We'll see if he's going to be on the nice or naughty list, if he can help us out there. Because let's be honest, everyone wants to talk to him. I want to hear his experience because we are both new to this space, he and I, and I'm so excited. And then I'll be able to share and we'll bring in some Audible people that really know the space more. And I want to say for any aspiring writers out there or that watch it later, Audible is such an amazing place to work, and I'm sure some of these other ones are as well, but the audio storytelling, really consider it as a screenwriter because it's a different way to tell a story. But a lot of movies are hard to make, you guys. They're hard to get, they're expensive, and it's a lot of competition. It's a great way to get another revenue stream, right? Where you right now I'm doing the audio, the books, the novels. And it's funny, I have my travel show too. That's supposed to be my full-time job, but it's, I was listening, Jay Shetty, I got the Daily Calm app, which I need because I'm so, and it was interesting. It came to me when I had allergies. And so I was having trouble with my eyes, and it said, put a hot pack on them 10 minutes, 3 times a day. And I'm pretty hyper. I mean, I'm trying to do movies, books.
Yeah.
I go, what am I going to do for 10 minutes? Like I wrote my first movie because I had surgery and I couldn't do anything but sit in a chair. So I was like, what am I going to do? And it came up on my thing, this Daily Calm, this meditation, this app. This was about 4 years ago. And it was free, one of those trial offers. And I like it because it's not too woo-woo-y. Not that woo-woo-y isn't good, but for me, I'm very like, let's go, And so the meditation is very doable. It's 10 minutes. But now Jay Shetty, who was a monk, I think he officiated J-Lo's wedding, to Ben. He has a fascinating story. I love his voice. And he kind of does, he calls the Daily J. And so this is new. I started listening to when I'm on my walk in the morning. And it was this great thing about how he had this whole thing. You'd have to listen to it, but the short version of, I'm going to tell it super short. And Jay, if you ever by any way listen, I don't want to ruin your story, but he says where you never know, like when something goes wrong. So he said, like an instance, this farmer's horse ran away, and the farmer, the neighbors were like, we're so sorry. What such bad luck? And the farmer said, well, we'll see. And then, next thing you know, the horse came back and brought this beautiful mare with it. And the neighbors were like, oh my goodness, what good luck. And the farmer's like, we'll see. Then the farmer's son tried to go on the mare and train it, fell off and broke his leg. And the neighbors were like, oh no, such bad luck. And the farmer's like, we'll see. And then the last one was the Navy. The farmer's son has broken leg. The Army was coming in to recruit for the war, and the son didn't get recruited because he had a broken leg. And the neighbor's like, see, what a blessing. So I've really, because of the challenging year we've all had, when something goes completely wrong, I'm kind of known of picking up the ashes. So I wanted to do my travel show. COVID, I couldn't. I had a skin cancer surgery, scar this big down the middle of my face, couldn't travel, couldn't be on my show. I wrote my first movie. I had another skin cancer from here to here, couldn't travel. I wrote my second movie. So from adversity, then all of a sudden, not doing my travel, the movies, also whatever, I'm going to write novels. Okay, my publishing company, HarperCollins, is fantastic, but it's the pandemic and so many things are happening. So, okay, I'm going to self-publish so I can make sure to get that. The lovely person asked, do you have a book out? There was a real shot that a lot of people didn't get a book out because of distribution. And I said, I'm going to, I was determined. I promised that I would. People were saying, please, we need some joy, Karen. Please, please, please. So from that, and then all of a sudden with everything going on, I've been dealing with a lot with my dad. And then Audible came into the space where I was like, do I have time with everything I'm juggling? But I really believed in it, and I believed in them. And the way I've been treated, you guys, has been so healing in the sense of I found a community. I'm learning every day. I got to recommend Ryan Pavey. I mean, right there. I mean, it's a good day. It's a good day.
Super good.
I just want to say, because people listen, and I am a very bubbly personality. This is real. I am positive, because what's the alternative? But I want y'all to know that it hasn't always been easy for me. Like all of these things I've achieved that happened pretty fast were 15 years in the making. And I left home at 17 to be a nanny, right? So because we couldn't afford college unless I was in LA. So I worked really hard, but that's why I'm on TikTok, and I want to give these tips and I want to inspire others. And if I can help 1 or 2 people, a lot of people said they had depression and anxiety, and that A Christmas Prince, they would just watch it over and over because it actually altered their mood. And it's their comfort that they can watch year round when they're really feeling down. And there's no bigger compliment, to me. If our stories that we tell and you all support with the podcast, if they can make people happy and bring joy and togetherness, I just want to thank you for what you do, because without you, I mean, you're giving a voice to all of us. The actors, they're actors, they get a lot of the attention, but I love that you talk to people like me, you talk to writers, and you really give your viewers a full 360 of what it takes for these movies. I just thank you so much. And it's such a blessing to meet you. And I'm so glad that we got to do the giveaway at Rama Drama. I'm like, poor Sarah. I'm like, these hardcovers are heavy. I'm like, okay, Sarah, take them with you. Therefore, when we do a podcast, I want you to do a giveaway. Sarah's like, okay, Carrie.
We split them up. We all took one. And so Catherine has one. I have one. Sarah has one. We'll get them distributed.
Oh, and I love you all. And Catherine too. I know she didn't get to, because she's the behind the scenes genius, the genius.
And
Making magic.
Not here
Yes.
today, but
we're so excited to have you. I will post links to we'll post the information to do mail in to
Perfect.
get their book plate and their bookmark and all those kinds of stuff.
Great.
We'll post a link to your TikTok too.
Oh, fun. And I'll send you a
um,
link because my website has an actual link that'll take them to the address. So I'll do
Okay,
that.
we'll do that. We'll post your
Perfect.
because that'll hit two birds with one stone. We'll do
I
that.
love that, you guys. And
Um,
I can't wait to share more. And thank you, because I really, like, I've shared a little bit, and I even told the gals, you know, people watching before we went on, I didn't want to talk too much about what's going on in my personal life. I tell you pretty much everything. Y'all have my heart, but you know, some real struggles are real. I didn't want to break down in tears. But that said, I feel so uplifted by doing this. I just feel so happy, and you guys gave me this amazing energy, and it just feels, I just thank you so much for what you do. And you've always been such a great supporter of me. I love you both. I love all three of you.
we love everything that you're doing, and we love super excited for your new projects, your new book, the Audible, and you know, movies. We're like excited about anything.
I forgot something. I'm working on 2 movies we can't talk about. I forgot. Oh my gosh, just went on sale. If you liked The Christmas Prince and you like A Royal Story, I was invited with 23 other best-selling authors. I mentioned Terry Wilson earlier. She wrote the Ryan Pavey, the Darcy stories. It's called Royal. It's on Amazon right now. And because of pre-order, it's not coming out till spring. 23 of us are writing short royal stories. Mine's called Royal Extra After. And it's about a princess that's in New York at the plaza and walks across the street in Central Park, and she gets mistaken. They're shooting a royal. She gets mistaken as an extra. And she has it out with the director about telling him that you are doing this all wrong. You know what I mean? So there's that story. But right now, you guys, it's 99 cents if you pre-order. And it's literally, that means it's 4 cents a story for best-selling authors. So that's go on Amazon, Royal, put in Terry Wilson's name because she's the guru around it. And I can't believe there's just so many projects. And then I have another non-summer, Christmas rom-com and some bunch of things. But this is the most immediate Christmas. But I'm not sure how long she's going to offer it at 99 cents. I think it's to get, the excitement going and everything. So
say that name one more time.
It's Royal, just simply Royal, and put in Terry Wilson, which is Teri.
Right.
Wilson. And like I said, she wrote those beautiful stories with Ryan Pavey, the Darcy stories.
With Cindy Busby and Ryan Pavey.
Royal romance.
Yeah.
Yes, there it is. And it's still 99 cents, right?
Let's see.
Yes. It better be.
It says to put it on my Kindle.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's 99 cents because she told us we could all stop. We literally, and everything got announced like in the last 2 weeks. I told you guys how it's been a little nutty. I can't believe I almost forgot that, because that's so important, because it'll be my first, in terms of a book, it'll be my first non-Christmas.
It's fun though. Super fun.
Everything else has been Christmas.
Right.
So.
Because you're Christmas Karen.
Right.
Our Christmas.
I gotta look up. Oh, wait. And coming up, I do a ton of giveaways. Christmas camp, my little mug.
Christmas camp, yes. Super fun.
And I want y'all to know what I'm doing tonight. For the very first time, I got the audio files, and I get to listen. And then if there's any notes, I give them on Monday. So I'm going to be listening to Once Upon a Christmas Carol, coming out, Audible original with Mr. Ryan Pavey, and myself, which I'm terrified of. But the reason I said that is because I'm going to have hot cocoa, and I got my Christmas camp mug out to talk to you guys. And I'm in Arizona where it's 90 degrees, but I'm going to snuggle up in like my Christmas pajamas, and I'm going to get all the feels.
I love it. And we love you. Thank you for coming again. You're welcome anytime. Maybe we'll do an Instagram live for
love that.
The Audible.
That would be so fun.
We loved meeting you in real life too. So that was really fun. So let's end the broadcast, and then we'll say bye off camera. So thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you everybody for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye everybody. Thank you.